I first met David in Mexico City, and people were saying, "Oh, you play guitar? David plays guitar. Maybe you should play together one time." And eventually we did get together one night and played, and it was great. It was fantastic from the start. When I went home, I said to Lynn, we could do that jazz band you're thinking of. He came round a week later. The three of us played together. As David walked out of the door, Lynn looked at me and went, "Holy shit."
Through some old contacts with my family from my childhood years in Brazil, I was able to get in touch with a guitar teacher. And this guy was a classical guitarist. What was great about that was he started me from the basics of Brazilian guitar, which is a little bit classical in its technique. You know, I worked on my technique a lot that I hadn't really developed earlier on. So he had me start with some of the chorinho music, which helps you get into the technique and also some of the roots of the whole tradition. But then we, you know, played a lot of the standard popular Brazilian songs, bossa novas and things like that. And he understood that I really wanted to get at it from more of a popular music style. But he was extremely helpful on the technical side and introducing me to some of these the roots of Brazilian popular guitar, which is in the chorinho music. And I also took a little course at a university there on percussion. It was for, you know, percussion course for non-percussionists, beginners, which was fabulous because the teacher just took us through all the different rhythms of Brazil and taught us some of the basic technique for almost every instrument. When I go back to Brazil now, I think there's much more focus on the whole tradition of Brazilian music than there was when I was in Brazil studying in the mid-'80s. The sophistication of the earlier music carries all the way through, something I think maybe we've lost a little bit in the United States when rock and roll came along. All the more sophisticated harmonies of the swing era and things like that sort of faded away, and everyone wanted to just play three-chord tunes. In Brazil, you have young composers coming along, and they're writing songs sometimes that are just as sophisticated as the most sophisticated Antonio Carlos Jobim songs. They do share the same roots. You know, at the end of the day, Brazilian music is Afro-Brazilian music, really. So the African tradition is there. It was always about maybe combining some European instrumentation with African percussion and African rhythms and coming up with something uniquely Western Hemisphere. A lot of composers were, you know, they say that Chet Baker was an influence, right? And they were listening to Miles Davis, they loved Gil Evans recordings, all that sort of stuff was absolutely a direct influence.
David is just delightful. His playing is effortless, it's very melodic. He's a great guy.